So the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. This is what everybody's going to be anticipating, everybody wants to see, and apparently was stolen. Well, at least a couple of them were. I think there was somebody that managed to get a few cases of them, or a case of them, that have basically opened them, so we can kind of see what everything is. Now, obviously, we did get pictures and all that jazz, and I think in general, I really like it. I think the UPCs tend to be pretty decent. It's just all depending on what actually comes in with them. 151, absolutely loved it. Obviously, if you could get the prismatic one, that was fantastic. In terms of what you open them for, not necessarily the value. Obviously, the value of prismatic went through the roof. Same with the UPC for 151. When it comes to this Charizard, I feel like he probably will do the same in terms of what we actually get in it. Looks pretty decent this time round. Obviously, the Phantasmal Flames coming in with 4 packs. We've got 4 packs of Mega Evolution, 4 packs of Destined Rivals, of Journey Together, and 2 of Surging Sparks. So, in terms of the pack rates, I really like Surging Sparks. I thought Journey Together was a nice set. Destined Rivals, I feel it was one of them sets that just came after so much hype that it's good and there's some lovely cards in it, but it's not necessarily my favourite. I'm really liking the look of Mega Evolution. And then Phantasmal Flames, we've seen a lot from Inferno X, so we'll kind of jump on that a little bit. And again, some of the Charizard cards in there look outrageous. So very, very nice all round in terms of pack selection, because it's not a special set. It's going to be based across the 2 generations of Scarlet and Violet and Mega. You are going to get a handful of everything. Now, I really like the kind of placemat. I do need another one on my desk, so that would be really nice to be able to get that one. Obviously, then the box, I still like the 151. It holds some of the extra cards that I've got. Big fan of the sleeves. The promo card itself, it's standard. It's not necessarily anything crazy. I like the throwback to the previous Mega Evolutions that we had back in, was it X and Y days? So that I do quite like, and I really like the lore, if you've not known before, that the English has got here the Japanese writing, the Japanese have the English. I quite like that as something different. And then you obviously have the coins and the also dice, which is going to be more for the players of it. And naturally, we can see a little bit more of the images here. Now, in terms of pricing of it, we've got the back of it, so you can kind of see what we've got coming in. Obviously, it gives you just a bit of everything in general. When we do look at something like Smith's, at the minute, it's going to be coming in at 125, so pretty standard. This is if you queue up, if you pre-order, what have you, you'll be able to get it at that price. So hopefully they do have a solid amount of stock of them. Again, with how Mega Evolution has gone, I really don't know how much, so I can imagine there's going to be a lot of people waiting outside ready for this product at some point. But if you do manage to get your hands on one, I do think it's going to be nice for that price. Unfortunately, not every time will it stay at that price. That's just the way of the world with it. In terms of what we're looking at on TCG, if you're looking at the price now, it's going to sell for quite a lot. Like, we look at the data, naturally it's not out yet, so take it with a pinch of salt, because naturally it's not out till the 14th of November. We are still over a month away from the actual release date. So these sort of prices are potentially going to be the people that have managed to find one off the back of a lorry, or managed to sweet talk someone in the Pokemon chain line that has managed to sell them off. Otherwise, you just wouldn't have any of these. Or even they're even pre-orders. There might be somebody that just wants their hands on one and they don't have a supply, or not able to get more than one, basically. So these will definitely be up in price. I mean, market-wise, they're going to start very high, and it will be interesting to see where they do drop down to. If you do look at a lot of the collection boxes that we've got from the 151, it's at 623 market now. The Celebrations was obviously a massive one in itself at 862. The Premium Sword and Shield one is at 1.5 now. I don't know if that's a case of them, though. Then obviously we got the Terrapagos. This was from obviously the Scarlet and Violet era. Didn't do as well, and obviously the hype doesn't translate to everything. It's not necessarily a guarantee that everything skyrockets in price, but a lot of the time in the new stuff, of course it will do. You look at the Greninja one at 250 now. That one for the longest time seemed to be pretty much just holding its own. Like, you look at the kind of yearly graph from it, it did even prior to, well, I mean, it came out here, but even like this first couple of months, and granted, this is where the real hype started, so you can see the climb of it, but you can kind of see that it did hold its value as a market lower in comparison to kind of what the market was saying elsewhere. Now, obviously, with this, it is going to be brand new, so we will see where this price does go. I feel like it will be absolutely stupid. It's got the Charizard on there. That's always a fan favorite for a lot of people, and sometimes not for a lot as well. Like, a lot of people don't necessarily rate Charizard as one of the top. It can be a lot of favorites for people, and it's nostalgic in that sort of aspect, but sometimes that can be its worst enemy at times. But realistically, in the general masses of collectors and people who will want to buy the box, what comes in it is always going to outweigh maybe just the packaging of it. When you do look at the Sword and Shield Ultra Premium, even then we got it 437, so clearly 151 did absolute numbers. And then as you go further down, we've got a lot of the kind of stuff, like obviously the mats. You've got zips. I don't think there's any more UPCs. The rest are then like figure collections. Like, there's very terms for them, like premium collection boxes, rather than necessarily anything that is Pokemon specific there. So in terms of should you invest, should you open, what's the best plan? And to be honest, if you do manage to get it at the Smith's Toys price, I think it could be worth an open, for the fact that's really what it should be. That's what it boils down to. I think as an investment point of view, I know everybody's just going to say scalping, all of that jazz, but even if you just get one for your sealed collection, I don't think it would be a bad investment at most prices. I would say I'd definitely be waiting to see where the market goes with it. I wouldn't necessarily just be jumping for the stock at 350. We can see even just from like the 151, it did take some time, and again we have to kind of jump towards this sort of zone is when Prismatic came out, and it really just started to get silly. There was no stock left on the shelves. We then went from one strength to the other, so it is at the point where you know that this is the kind of byproduct of the absolute panic of everybody getting into the hobby. Prior to this, in the kind of October, November, December, it was definitely building. You could tell with the surge in sparks going up pretty much, and then we got news of the Prismatic. There was rustles around that things will get more expensive, so it kind of is its own demise with that. And now this is kind of like one of them things that you often look at it and think, well, when the hype eventually does die down, if it ever does die down to a point where things drop to a normal low, I don't think we're going to go down to this market price anymore. And I've seen lots of creators talk about it, where if you looked at a booster box specifically and you saw that everything was kind of coming in as normally I'd pay like 105 to maybe 115 as a MSRP price for a booster box, I don't think it will ever go down to that point anymore if the hype doesn't completely go. And I just don't see. I feel like it's brought so many people back into collecting that were previously maybe just looking at Pokemon rather than actually collecting. And the problem with that as well is it's brought more people who just want to make the money off it as well. So it's kind of like that catalyst of both. So even when the prices do drop, the hype is kind of died down a little bit. I don't see it lasting forever. We've went through many ups and downs. This just seems to be one of the really high ones that we've seen, but naturally it will drop down, but it will leave so many people still in the hobby that maybe don't want to necessarily, maybe they do want to make some money out of it, but they enjoy the hobby in terms of they want to make it their full-time job, but they're not necessarily going out to Smith's and getting 20 of their friends to all buy these and then just sell them at 15 times X. Maybe they are just wanting to make a job to be able to enjoy the hobby, maybe make certain content with it, maybe just in general go vending, go and sell cards. And that's fair enough to some extent with them, because obviously if they're not necessarily charging the 15 extra products, you don't get to keep products. That's the kind of hardest bit. If you've got nothing on your shelves because you are putting it at, if you sold these at say 150, you've just put a little bit of price up. Maybe you've had to buy them at 125, but then you see the next shop down the road is selling them at 200. They're always going to have some sort of stock, and more than likely, there's always going to be somebody that buys it. That's always the biggest problem. It's great saying that we should have it lower, but when people are buying it for that price, why would they put it lower? It's kind of that unfortunate scenario of anything. But in general, when it comes to this box, I quite like it. I don't think it would necessarily sit up there with the 151 in my opinion. I do think value-wise it's always going to do well because the packs that come in it, it's a Charizard, the mat. UPCs are very hard to come by in their bulk, so it's not as if people are going to be able to, well, I mean, you possibly could, but you might not be able to find one that's buyable for sealed and then one to actually open, it's going to be very difficult to find that in general. So naturally it's going to be one of them ones that you will have to make that choice of, if you manage to just get one at MSRP, do you seal it, do you keep it, do you open it? I personally would be venturing towards more of an open, but that's only because I can't keep anything sealed. So it's no point me having this and saying I want to keep this sealed, I want to invest in it for the next few years, because yes, it will go up in price. There's no doubt about that. If you go in 20 years from now, I just don't see this, unless there is like just an industry collapse on collectibles, which I don't see happening. This has been like collectibles have been a thing for decades, absolute decades. Even if it's away from cards, there's always been something to collect. So even if it was that Pokemon does drop its pricing as such, you're always going to find somebody that likes Pokemon with money, and if they don't have this in their collection, they're going to buy it. So realistically, you should be fine if you do last that X amount of years on top, but that would be all for you if you do manage to keep it sealed. I quite like to open stuff like this. I do want the mat, so unless if I can't get one of these, I'll have to just buy the mat in general, but then I might have a little scour on a few of the others. But in general, it is a nice product to look at. Again, whether the actual quantity is going to be crazy, we will cover that once it's actually out and see whether it was a good purchase in general, or has it just blown up? Like literally, has it just gone to the absolute moon? Is it 500 on release date? That will be the interesting decider. So we will do a follow-up closer to the time to see where this truly is going. But let me know, are you still looking for product? Are you now just buying singles, which I think is what I'm doing at the moment? I do want to open a few of the Mega Evolutions when that does come, but in general, I'm more than happy to just buy the singles at this rate. Leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you all for that next one. Peace!